Now, as far as one last topic is what will life be like after bankruptcy? Because a lot of people tend to want to know about that. It'll be a lot better than it was before you came in my office, more than likely, because the harassing calls will stop, the lawsuits will stop, the threats will stop. Some people will bug you. I mean, I have people call me 3 years after they filed, and some random collection agency that finally got your file starts bugging them. And I just say, well, send it to me, and I've got letters that I send to those people, and that gets them off your back, and they'll stop because you can sue them. If you file bankruptcy and you get your discharge, a discharge order is an injunction, and most people have heard that word before from TV. An injunction is where a judge has signed an order that says you cannot do something, and a discharge injunction basically prevents creditors from ever trying to collect that debt. If they do, and they know about the bankruptcy, then, that's why I always write everybody a letter first. I mean, some people, if they were really abused, they want to just sue them. Well, I'm just not going to do that because I don't want to be in front of a judge and, the creditor's lawyers say that I never even told them about the bankruptcy, before I filed suit against them. That just doesn't seem right. So basically, most creditors are going to back off as soon as you write a letter and say, give them a copy of the bankruptcy discharge. A bankruptcy will be on your credit for 10 years. No more. The bankruptcy code says it cannot be on there more than 10 years. It doesn't say how long it can be on there, but I know it stays on there 10 years because I've had enough people. I've been practicing 25 years, and I've had enough people come in with with it being on there till the 10 years. Basically, that doesn't mean you're doomed for 10 years. It's hard to say what really is going to be the case in the future because I have no idea what's going on with the economy right now. I've never seen an economy like this. Friends of mine who are older than me, who've been doing this, they're like in their 60s. They've never seen anything like this. But the rule before now has been pretty much 2 years after you file Chapter 7 or you get your case in a 13 completed, you could go out and buy a house if you're making enough money to be approved for the loan. Basically you might pay a higher rate. When I asked a mortgage broker friend of mine a few years ago before things went crazy what a bad rate was, and she said like 4 points higher than a good rate. And so at that point rates were 6, so you get a 10% mortgage. Well, my first mortgage in '87 was 10%, so it's not that horrible. And in a car loan, you can get that right after your case is over at 15%, and maybe better if you have a cosigner, a contact, or something like that. So it's not the end of the world to file bankruptcy. And the minute your discharge is entered, on your credit report, all of the balances on all of your debts are supposed to go to 0. So your debt-to-income ratio is great if you have income and you're not still unemployed for like 2 years, which I've seen so many people who have been unemployed for 2 years, longer than that. I've seen people who were making $40,000 a month building homes in Charlotte who are making nothing right now, being a handyman for a friend, and their wife is waiting tables. That's stuff like I've never seen before, but I've seen that. I've never represented so many bankers in my life in the last 3 years. I've represented a doctor finally. I was waiting for that. I know lawyers locally who filed bankruptcy, lawyers in Columbia, real estate lawyers. Myrtle Beach, whole law firms have filed bankruptcy that did real estate. I've had clients who've invested $2 million in real estate for their marital retirement, real estate up and down the coast, no appreciation, no ability to flip, gone. And it's just, these are not deadbeat people filing bankruptcy. It's just kind of a tragic economy. So I really don't know what's going to happen, but with my 2-year rule, but it's been a pretty good rule for most of the time. But generally speaking, if you go in and you've got the income to be able to qualify for a loan, most banks are gonna look at you. It's just the fact that, you know, if you have no income and a bankruptcy, that's not so good. The other ways to help reestablish your credit would be save up $1,000, go to your bank, put it in a savings account, tell them you want a secured credit card based on that balance, and buy your gas with it every month. Pay it off at the end of the month. Do that every month. Never use it for anything else. Never don't pay it off on time. That rehabilitates your credit. If you reaffirmed your car, that rehabilitates your credit. School loans, you know, there's a statute in the bankruptcy code that says you can't be discriminated against for school loans, federally guaranteed school loans. So you know, a lot of people worry about filing bankruptcy and their kids are going to be in college in 8 years. What do? Well, don't worry about it. And of course, there's the rule on being able to can't repeatedly file, and that's it can get complicated. But if you ever have filed bankruptcy or need to know whether you are eligible now, you know, it's real easy to figure up. It just takes a little time. And I guess that's about it. There are debts you can't get rid of, like school loans and taxes. So after you file bankruptcy, you will be stuck with those bills. Sometimes it's worth waiting to file so that you're not stuck. I had a client who, about 2 years ago, she owed $40,000 in taxes, and I told her that if she waited 2 years, we could get rid of it. And I'd forgotten all about it, and she showed up the other day to hire me to file bankruptcy. And if taxes are older than 3 years old, if they're due and payable more than 3 years ago, and the tax returns were filed more than 2 years prior to the time you file bankruptcy, and there's no lien, you can get rid of it. It's all wiped out. I've gotten rid of $200,000. I love it. I mean, that's because I don't like the IRS very much. But so, you know, it's always nice when you can live vicariously through your clients. But that is about it for this talk.